Welcome back to FPL, everybody, and today we have a great podcast in store for you for the start of the 2016-17 season. I have three guests with me. JNO United, an epic YouTuber. It's linked on his Twitter profile, which is at JNO United. We've got Kurt, another YouTube fanatic. Again, he's linked on his profile. It's at KurtYOY. And then we've got Tom Mellor, an epic Leeds fan, and he loves his vines. Again, everything's on there. On Twitter, go check him out at Mellor Football. And your host today is myself, Matty Kay, editor of the FPL Academy. Dean is on holiday, your usual host, so I'm stepping in for a couple of weeks. He's probably found a corner where there's a bit of Wi-Fi in his hotel, trying to tweak his FPL draft team, getting ready for the start of the season, aren't we all? We've got some great questions for you coming up that have been asked on Twitter. The guys on the podcast will be talking through their own drafts, and we've got a bit of a quickfire round at the end to give us an indication of how we all feel each team will do at the end of the season. Okay, so enough of the introduction. Okay, so let's get on with this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just talk through everybody's drafts that they've been looking at through the season. The pre-season, we're nearly a week away from Gameweek 1, so there'll be a lot of tweaking going along. So Jano, we're going to come to you first, and if you wouldn't mind, can we talk through your current draft and the reasoning behind some of the key players that you've got?
Yeah, well, first of all, as I say to everyone that has seen my team already, I'm not happy with it just yet, but I've started off with Mandanda and Foster in goal, hoping that Mandanda is going to start. They kind of rotate well, but my plan is to use my wildcard early, so I don't need them to rotate for very long. And then we're going with Azpilicueta and Luke Shaw as my premium price defenders. I just feel like there's definitely potential for clean sheets from those two sides early on in the season, although I'm not too sure about Chelsea at the moment. I'm trying to watch their pre-season games. We then have Eric Peters, Evans and Francis as my cheap defenders. Bournemouth have a couple of defenders that can get assists and goals. Evans, West Brom are always good for a couple of clean sheets. And then Peters is literally just in there because he's cheap, but he'll probably get swapped out at some point. That's allowed me to have the likes of Hazard, Mkhitaryan and Aguero in my side. And hopefully all three of those will have a good start to the season. I know Hazard had a pretty good pre-season game against Real Madrid, came on and scored 2. So I'm hoping Hazard has a season similar to 2014-2015. Then we have Townsend and Lamela, joined by Capoe from Watford. It looks like he's been given more of a licence to roam up the pitch, so I'm hoping that he might be a differential for me, although he is the fifth midfielder. And with Aguero, we've got Shane Long and Romelu Lukaku. And I think Shane Long, if he is going to start for Southampton, could be one of the secret weapons of the season.
Good stuff, Jano. Thanks for that. And do you have any plans on when you want to use your wildcard, or is it just a case of you'll use it when the time's right?
Definitely between Game Week 3 and 4. I think by that point I'll have a better idea of who I want in my side and who I don't. Competitive games are a lot better to read a player than pre-season games. So yeah, definitely going to wait so I don't end up with loads of Chelsea players like I did last season and have a pretty bad start, to the season.
Cool, thanks for that, Jano. Kurt, we're going to come to you next. Do you want to talk through your pre-season draft and some of the reasons behind why you've chosen which player?
Whenever I put my draft out there, it's always been met with some confusion, but I feel like I've sort of got a grasp on who I want to keep for the start of the season. My two goalkeepers are Cech and Foster from West Brom. Simply put, Cech and Arsenal always get clean sheets, and Foster at 4.5 is an absolute bargain. 5 at the back, or the 5 defenders I've got is Craig Dawson from West Brom, because at £5 million, hopefully West Brom will be a bit more solid than they were this season. And he also scored a lot of goals, did a lot of attacking wise, so got the potential to be quite a high scoring defender. Then Gabriel from Arsenal, because Mertesacker is injured for some, I think 4, 5, 6 months. So £5 million, Gabriel's going to start quite a lot of the time. So £5 million for an Arsenal defender is pretty cheap. Then Kyle Walker, because he attacked well in the Euros and hopefully he can bring that into the Premier League. Leighton Baines, because hopefully they'll be more solid under new manager Ronald Koeman. And then Eric Peters at 4.5 million from Stoke, because he's pretty cheap and Stoke had a pretty alright season last season. My midfielders, I've gone with two sort of marquee players in Payet and Hazard, because Payet, simply put, was West Ham's gem whenever he played well, and he played in general. West Ham played well, and if he didn't play, West Ham didn't play well, so they revolved a lot around him. Hazard at £10 million, ended off the season pretty well, was on okay in pre-season and looked lively in the Euros, so I think that's one to go for. And then the other three are Joe Allen, because he's cheap, Feghouli also because he's cheap, and then Eric Lamela because he's a decent option at £7 million. I think he could do a little bit of business. And up front, the obvious Aguero at £13 million, just for simple reasons. It's Aguero. If he starts, he scores, and under new manager Guardiola, he should fly past his usual goal records easily if he's fit, that is. And the other two strikers I've got is Andy Carroll and Andre Gray at 6.5 million, because I feel like they could be top goal scorers for their teams this season.
Thanks for that, Kurt. And with regards to your Game Week 1 captain, who have you decided to go for, or is that an obvious question?
For me, I'm looking at it. Sunderland at home, you cannot pass up the opportunity for Aguero.
Triple captain? Any balls for that?
Oh, I don't think I've got enough balls. Sorry.
You know what? I want to do that now.
I think a lot of people will. And if you remember last year, the key game was Game Week 8, wasn't it? 51 points, no one beat that. And a lot of people used the triple captain against Newcastle, Sunderland rivals. I don't think I can, but I bet a few people will. Right, cheers for that, Kurt. And then, Tom, we're going to come to you next. Same question, really. If you want to just talk through your draft one.
Yeah, well, I've got Aguero, of course, captain this week. Well, for next week. Not my triple captain, not that daring. I've got Rhodes and Lukaku alongside him. Lukaku, I don't know where he'll be playing, Chelsea or Everton, but regardless of that, I think he'll score. Jordan Rhodes, I hope he plays above Negredo. I personally would. He's a goal scorer all round. He'll hit double figures if he plays regularly, just like plays like Troy Deeney did, Ricky Lambert in their first season in the Premier League. My main midfielders are De Bruyne and Mkhitaryan, and then I've got three cheap ones around them. So Feghouli, 5.5 mil, which I can't believe he's 5.5 mil. I think he's going to do really well in the assists tally. I've got Cesc Fabregas at 7.5 mil, who I think his price is going to go up as the season goes along. I think at 7.5 mil is quite cheap. Last season was the only season he didn't hit double figures in assists. He'll have two strikers to aim for this season with Conte, the manager. And then I've got Jordan Ibe, who I really like. I think is a good explosive winger. Hopefully Eddie Howe can get the best out of him, get him a few goals and assists and play him first of all. My five defenders, I'm hoping they'll all start. I've got Ashley Williams, who might be playing for Everton, but even so, I'm still putting him in because I like Swansea. I like Everton. I think their fixtures are fairly nice. Swansea's a tougher, but Swansea is a solid team at home, so I'll stick with Ashley Williams for 5. Got George Friend and Gareth McCauley, both 4.5 mil, both playing for fairly defensive teams. Karanka and Pulis love clean sheets more than they love their own family. I've got Luke Shaw, Man United. I've got high hopes for Luke Shaw. He'll be back. The Man United fans love him. He's going to be bombing down that left side. And then I've got Sam Byram. Nothing to do with being a Leeds fan. I just think he's brilliant. Our goalkeepers Courtois and Jakubovic. I'm not going to play Jakubovic. It's just for money. It's just to save money. And Courtois, because I think Conte's a very good tactical manager, as we saw in Euros. I think Courtois is going to keep a fair good amount of clean sheets.
Yeah, it's very interesting what you say about Fabregas there, Tom. Do you think that the presence of Kante will allow Cesc to be pushed up the field a bit more and get involved? Is that?
Well, I'd hope so, because he signed N'Golo Kante. So I'm just... Obviously, last season it was Matic and Fabregas in the defensive roles. This season it's probably going to be Matic and Kante, or Matic and Zuma if Zuma's back, wherever he chooses. I think Fabregas, you've got to push him further up. He's brilliant. I think we forgot how good he actually is. He's hit double figures in every season apart from last one in assists, and he's been in the Premier League for 7 seasons. And Conte plays 2 up front as well. So
yeah, I agree with that. It's a good
point. 7.5 million. I'm going for Fabregas. He's not a goal scorer, but he does score as well in seasons.
Yeah, he's on set pieces as well, isn't he, in corners?
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing.
Good shout on that one. Right. Okay, and then finally I'll just talk through my draft. So I've decided to go for De Gea in the net, and obviously he's going to be my static keeper throughout the season. Obviously, if he gets injured, then I'll have to change. I've got Jakubovic as well as my sub because he's a 4 million playing goalkeeper. That's all I can really ask for a keeper that price. It probably won't be number one for all season, but I can readjust. I've gone my strategy in defence. I've gone, and again, this is all subject to change with transfers and pre-season, but I've gone for 2 elite defenders that I hope will just stay there. Baines. He wasn't great last season, hence why his price is a lot lower. But now with Coleman in charge at Everton, I think they should be defensive. And Baines is he's not threatened in that position. Hopefully, be back on penalties, and he should be a quite a nice buy for 5.5. And then a company name I've got Aspel for Chelsea. Again, I don't think his position is rivaled at Chelsea, whereas the others are. Ivanovic, his position looks to be maybe in the air with this new guy. Is it Anya? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
So it's just I like a bit of certainty in defence because I want to keep that static as long as I can. And then my cheap defenders, I've got Friend from Middlesbrough because I agree. He's defensive and so is Karanka's style of play. And Johnny Evans for West Brom. They kind of rotate. I'll probably adjust that later on. And then I've gone for Brad Smith, cheap 4 million defender for Bournemouth, just signed from Liverpool. There's a lot of questions on Twitter around will he play, but why would he sign a 6 million defender if you're not going to play him when you're Bournemouth? I just can't see how he won't play. So that's my defence. And then in midfield, I've gone Ayew because there's no registered striker really at Swansea. That could change if they do sign someone up front. I've gone for Tadic because again he's unrivaled. Now Mane's gone, he's going to be the focus. He's on penalties. He'll be supplying Austin. He'll be supplying Long up front. I think I've got high hopes for Tadic this season. I've also gone for Hazard, but now Tom's little comments around Cesc, I might have to rethink that. He'll give me a lot more money to sell.
I sold you.
Yeah, he may have sold me on that one, so I'll have to have a rethink. And then for Goulet, I've also brought him in. I think he's, Mahrez started at that price last season at 5.5 million. Figueiredo's another Algerian, and could it end the same? Well, we don't know. I mean, maybe, and that's what I'm hoping for. That's why I've brought him in. He's got difficult first fixture, but we'll see on that one. And then my cheap fifth midfielder, I've got Lecco from West Brom. It's a massive gamble because he might not even play. He's only young. He played a few games last season towards the end, and I think he got an assist. So we'll see what happens with Lecco. He's a 4.5 million midfielder at the end of the day. It's either him or Capoue from Watford, and they're not really going to play in my team. And then up front, I've decided to go for Ibrahimovic because he's awesome, and him and Jose together, I just think they're going to be unstoppable. I've gone for Aguero, my captain Aguero, and then I've gone my 6.5 million forward. I've gone for Gray from Burnley. I mean, it's a difficult position to fill, that 6.5 million striker. I looked at Negredo, I looked at Wilson, and I just thought Gray's having a storm in pre-season, and will he fit into the Premier League? It's a little bit of a gamble, but I'm hoping he will. So he's my last striker. So that's my team. Okay, so that's everybody's teams rounded up. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to look at Twitter, and we've had a few questions from people, and we're going to start with Harry Temple. He asks, just to give some advisements on the Man United new boys, and I know Shaw's not a new boy because he joined, a few seasons ago, but he's not really played. So he's giving options as Shaw, Mkhitaryan, and Ibrahimovic. And J&O, can you just talk around those three players and what impact they could have on FPL?
Okay, well, I saw the tweet as well, and I'm not sure if he's trying to include all of them or if he's wanting to pick one or two. I've done quick plug videos about Ibrahimovic and Mkhitaryan on my channel, so if you want to go check that out, go for that. The stats for Mkhitaryan and Ibrahimovic are incredible, especially Ibra. Literally, you can go back 5 or 6 seasons, and he's always like a 20-goal striker with plenty of assists as well. Brings players into the game, so Ibra is definitely worth the value that FPL are giving him. Is it 12 million? No, it's 11.5.
11.5. Yeah, 11.5.
I think he could definitely be worth that. And if part of me was willing to pay that much for 2 strikers up top of that price, then I probably would go that strategy. But I just can't bring myself to spend that much of my budget on the strikers in case something goes wrong. But Ibra is definitely an option, and I would even say there's the potential that you could have him instead of Aguero, especially if Aguero has his parts of the season where he gets injured. With Mkhitaryan, I believe with someone like Ibra, he's going to get assists, he's going to be involved further up the pitch. But will they gel together? Because I'm assuming they had to both start with the transfer fees that they commanded. And then as far as Luke Shaw, I've got him in my side, but I'm thinking I might need Antonio Valencia because his pre-season has been pretty impressive and he's been raiding down the right side as well. So if he gets put in, and is he classed as a defender?
Yeah.
I think he is.
Valencia, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the same price or if he's cheaper.
I know they've got about 13 defenders on FPL, Man United.
Yeah, they do. He's a 5.5 million defender, so yeah, he's the same as Shaw.
Oh, it's the same. Oh, I don't know who to go for then. But, I mean, I'd say out of those 3, Shaw's the one you could probably find someone else to play instead. I think there's plenty of £5.5 million options that could do as good a job as Shaw. I think Ibra is going to be one of the top scorers in the league. Probably with Kane. I'm not sure if Vardy will do it again this season, but I think Kane, Aguero and Ibra should be the top scorers this season. Maybe Lukaku if he does go to Chelsea. Mkhitaryan, I think 9.5 million, if he can bring over his form from the Bundesliga, is probably undervalued. So my top pick out of that side would be Mkhitaryan.
Cheers for that, Jano. Okay, so we've got a question here from Sami Nishuku, and we're going to go to you, Kurt, on this, and it's a simple question. He's just asking, Payet or Fabregas for a mid-option?
It'd be easier to deal with Payet and Ozil, but they're 2 different players. You've got Payet, who will operate as very much a centre-forward, but now you've got Fabregas, who now Chelsea have signed Kante, and they've also got Matic. Maybe could push Fabregas towards that Payet position. Payet might be pushed out towards the wings, whereas Fabregas, will stay central. He hasn't got the legs or the pace in general to go down the wings. But it depends on how much you're willing to pay. I mean, Fabregas last season, he played more, had more time on the pitch and scored less points than Payet. But on previous seasons, he's done the business, and go back to 2009, 2010, where he's grabbed over 200 points. Whereas last season, he grabbed over 100, only 133. Whereas Payet, on the other hand, only played 2,500 minutes and grabbed himself almost 180 points, and he would have broken the 200 mark, I believe, if he'd been fit for the whole season. But personally, Payet is the one that I'm going for. I mean, I might take a risk on Fabregas come, one of those dangerous things to do right before the game week starts, minutes to go. But Payet seems such a bang-on player to have. I mean, he's on all set plays, and you can't look past him for me, really.
Yeah, I know that there's a £2 million difference in the players, isn't there? And maybe that's good to be considered. Yeah. Maybe you can have both. Maybe that's an option if you're completely torn, just get both.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
Cheers for that, Kurt. And now, Tom, we're going to come to you. And Evolution 666, another simple question, a dilemma. Balassi or Townsend?
Yeah, they're very similar. Balassi's 6 mil, Townsend is 6.5, but I'd still go with Townsend. I think this season would be the first season where Townsend's actually had a full season. He's not really been through the full 38 games, had his full chance. He's just played dribs and drabs. Townsend, he should be on set pieces, and we know what Pardew likes to get set pieces to players like Scott Down. Obviously, signed James Tompkins, who's pretty good in the air. Balassi will assist, but I think mainly Balassi showed what he could do last season purely because of the fact that Palace didn't have a striker, but they probably will get one this year. I think Townsend will score more, I think he'll assist more, and I think that's worth 0.5 million itself. Obviously, just one more thing, bonus points you get him for dribbles completed and stuff like that. And albeit Balassi does try dribbles, but Townsend dribbles for the sake of it, even if he's going backwards. So it's just stuff like that that might add up, might get you that extra bit of points. So I'd go for Townsend overall.
Yeah, it's a good point. And to be fair, Crystal Palace's fixtures, they are quite decent early on. I've been looking at the Premier League site. Has anyone seen the new feature that they've got? It's called FDR. I presume it stands for Fixture Difficulty Rating.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Just changed the colours actually to green and pink. But Crystal Palace's, it's like 1's obviously the best, 5 is the worst. It goes 1-4, 1-1-2, 1-2, which looks good when you look at it on the screen. So yeah, I think either of those two players would be good. But yeah, I think I agree with you, Tom. Townsend edges it for me.
Yeah. Obviously, Palace fans love to get behind the team at Selhurst, and Palace's first 3 fixtures are West Brom. First 3 home fixtures are West Brom, Bournemouth and Stoke. So you'd like to think Balassi or Townsend should be able to do something in the opening games of the season.
Yeah. Palace have been, well, maybe not linked, maybe it's rumoured with Benteke. If they sign a striker like that, it'll complete their team, really.
Exactly, yeah. That's what they're looking for. I think they're after Berahino as well, so one of them two would be pretty good for...
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so cheers for that, Tom. Cheers, Evolution666 for the question. Dan's on Twitter. He's saying there are plenty of 5 million options available on FPL. He's named 3. Joe Allen recently moved to Stoke. I think it's pronounced Gay from Everton. And Wanyama from Spurs. They're all 5 million. J&O, which one would you pick if you had to pick one of them?
Well, first of all, just apologies if we are butchering the name of the Everton player, Gay. I don't actually know much about him because he played for Aston Villa last season, and I only looked at Aston Villa as a team that I want players to play against. So I never really properly looked into any Aston Villa player. So I'm not sure how well he'll do at Everton. I'm pretty sure, though, last season he actually scored more points than Wanyama and Joe Allen. That maybe because he played every single game, and Wanyama is a very defensive-minded player who can pop up further up the field every now and again. But I believe at Spurs, Wanyama is going to be strictly a defensive midfielder, and they've got a lot of other attacking players to do the attacking for them. With Joe Allen, his best season, I think, in FPL was when he was with Swansea, when he was playing more advanced up the pitch. So I suppose it depends where they're actually thinking of playing Joe Allen. I think it was 2011, 2012. I think he got 117 points, but don't quote me on that, but it's something around that mark. So if they have bought Joe Allen with the intention of playing him further up the pitch, then that could be a very, very good price for him. But to be honest, none of them really shout at me as a player that I need to put in my side as a £5 million option. Is there anyone else I'd put in instead?
There's Kante. A lot of people have been going for him, and I know he plays defensive. He did get a few goals, didn't he? Or assists, I'm sure he did.
Well, no, he got 108 points last season. I think a lot of that was bonus points as well.
4 goals.
Because he will get bonus points.
He got 4 assists on a goal, which isn't bad for a defensive midfielder, I suppose. But
I know a lot of people are going with Fletcher at 4.5 because he's nailed on at West Brom. And he got a decent amount of points for someone valued at 4.5 million. I think he got over 100 points as well, but I think it was only just.
Yeah, 103.
He got a goal and 3 assists as well. 6
and I mean, Bournemouth are pretty good for cheap midfielders as well, if I remember correctly from last season. Gosling and Sermon, I think they did all right.
Yeah.
So I personally would pick one of the players I said after that myself, but definitely watch Joe Allen. If Joe Allen is playing further up the pitch like he did at Swansea, then he could be a very good option at 5 million.
Yeah, I agree. And he had a good Euros as well with Wales, didn't he? Okay. Khalid El Jadbri on Twitter. Kurt, I'm coming to you. He's asking about the Crystal Palace goalkeepers. We've already looked at the fixtures. We know they're pretty decent. But he's asking, will Mandanda, the new guy there, will he start this year? Or will it be Speroni or Hennessy?
Well, I'm writing off Speroni because although now Alex McCarthy has left for Southampton, he had the least time on the pitch out of the 3 of them. And so I've limited it down to Hennessy and Mandanda. And the way I look at it is, I've done a little bit of research, it shouldn't take much to explain it, but Mandanda has played over 40 times in the Champions League in his career and has been at League One Team of the Year last 2 seasons, as well as League One Best Goalkeeper of the Year last 2 seasons. However, the Hennessy, a few years ago, he was loaned to Yeovil Town, so hopefully Crystal Palace can answer that question themselves and put Mandanda in goal. So I'm always going with Mandanda to start. I think they can't look past him. Someone with his quality and his experience should easily get rid of any, doubt about a starting place. He will definitely take it in my eyes.
Yeah, good point. And I think Palace rotate all season home and away with, I think it's Swansea. I'm sure it's Swansea. So maybe if you're feeling, maybe Mandanda and Fabianski as a rotating goalkeeping pair could work for you. It's just as expensive as having, like a De Gea and a Djukovic. So one to watch as well. But yeah, for Mandanda on that, and I think your stats back that up, and there'd be fools not to, I guess. Okay, I think we're on the last question now, and Tom, we're going to come to you, and it's FPL Ramblings on Twitter, and he's looking at the Manchester City defence, which no one's really been talking about on Twitter or any of the podcasts I've been listening to. But if you had to pick a defender from Man City, which one would you pick?
It's a tough one this time. I'm struggling because they're all so expensive. I wouldn't buy a defender for $6 million. It's tough to see who Pep will play as well. Obviously, you've got Sagna and Zabaleta on the right, Kolarov and Clichy on the left. And in the middle, you've got Otamendi, Kompany, Mangala. Obviously, you might bring someone else in, but it's tough to call. I'd probably bring in maybe Kolarov. It's tough. Kompany might be injured. To be honest, I'd probably go against it and just put Joe Hart in for 5.5 mil. So he's still going to get the clean sheet points. Obviously, you're not going to get goals and assists, but he's saving 0.5 and the risk that, obviously, he might be benched as a Man City defender. I don't think Pep will bring in a goalkeeper to replace Hart. Obviously, there was a few rumours about it, but I don't think he will. So I'd honestly not put in a Man City defender if I was you, because of the prices, and just go for Joe Hart.
Yeah, I guess the transfer we're all waiting for eagerly is Stones to Man City, isn't it? And then
that's it, yeah. And he's 5 mil, but will he play? Will Pep drop him in the deep end, or will he bed him in? Or it's tough to call. I'd give it a few weeks, because it's not like you're breaking the bank for John Stones. Give it a couple of game weeks. Is he starting? If he is, put him in. If he's not, don't. It's just one of them, isn't it?
And they haven't got the best of fixtures. I mean, they're not massively difficult, but I think there are better options. You're right. In the 5.5 million bracket and the 5 million bracket around there. So yeah. So we wouldn't FPL Ramblings, or Tom wouldn't if he had to choose.
Yes. sorry, FPL Ramblings.
Yeah, a lot of good info there. So that rounds up all the questions that we had on Twitter. What we're going to do now is I'm just going to do some quick-fire questions to everybody, and I just want one-word answers, or 2 words. And I'm going to ask everybody who they think the champions are going to be this season. So quick-fire, we're going to go reverse this time. We'll start with you, Tom. Who are going to be the champions this season?
Manchester City.
JNO?
Chelsea.
Kurt?
Unfortunately, Chelsea.
And I'm going for Manchester City. So two all on there between Chelsea and Manchester
2
City.
all.
Yeah. We'll see.
I'm surprised no one said Man United.
I know, they're my second place.
Right, opposite end of the table. Who will be relegated? Just one team. Who will finish bottom? We'll go JNO.
Sunderland.
Kurt?
Has to be Hull.
Tom?
Yeah, Hull City.
Yeah, sorry Hull fans, but it's Hull for me as well.
Hey, Hull City fans, I had your back. I didn't say that.
He had your second bottom.
Okay, so Leicester City surprised us all last season. Who will be? It sounds a bit like a blind date question. This. Who will be the surprise package this year, though? Kurt, we'll start with you on this.
Southampton.
Okay, bit of unsurety in the answer, but Southampton. Tom.
I think Middlesbrough.
Surprise package, okay, and JNO.
Yeah.
I'd love to say Leicester again, but Crystal Palace if they get a striker.
Okay, and I'm going to say Stoke. And then
that's a good shout.
The last
actually.
question of the podcast, I'm afraid, everybody, is who will struggle? Who probably who didn't struggle last season? Who you don't expect to struggle? Who will that be? Kurt.
But no, I think I might have misjudged the question, but I have Middlesbrough.
Middlesbrough, okay. JNO.
I really don't want to say this, but I've not been happy with how they played in pre-season. West Ham.
Interesting. And Tom?
Yeah, I don't want to say it, but I'm going with Leicester. Just the European football and all that piling up on him. It's going to be tough.
And I was going to say Leicester as well. You know,
we don't want to say it, but got to be honest.
So, but last year, every time we doubted them, they all proved us wrong all the time, didn't they?
I know. You do know people are going to play this back in May when we're all wrong.
I wonder if...
But that's it, we can say we doudted them, and that's why they won the league again.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see at the end of the season if anyone got any of this right. We'll see. I'll write it down and we can talk about it in the last podcast. Or Dean can, he'll be back from his holidays by then. So thanks everybody for being on the podcast. I hope everyone liked it, and I think Dean's still on holiday next week, so I'll be your host again. And I promise to sort the sound quality out. Apologies to everybody listening. There's a bit of an echo. That's completely my fault, not the guys on the call. So apologies in advance. And until then, good luck with your teams, and we'll speak next week. Okay, cheers everybody.